Perspective is one of those words that has a lot of different uses. Every now and then when you're building a project or planning on a tube buggy, you need to step back and have a look at what you're building and get some perspective.
Today, this 1-ton dually will become an ultimate work truck, thanks to our friends at WD-40 Company. But it's why we're building it that puts our jobs and what we do for a living all into perspective.
Now, Jessi and I both know that we are very fortunate to be able to spend our days in here working in the shop building killer off-road trucks. But this build is going to be a little bit different because when we're finished with that Xtreme 4x4, it's going to be auctioned off with the proceeds going to a great charity.
It's called Rebuilding Together and their Veterans Housing Program, bringing volunteers and communities together to rehabilitate the homes of low-income homeowners.
Meet the Bosticks, Evelyn and Bobby. They've lived in this small 2-bedroom home for 53 years, ever since he was discharged from the Navy after the Korean War. Chronic emphysema has made it tough for him to get around, let alone do needed repairs to the home.
The mission's for everybody to live in a safe, warm, and dry home. We believe that everybody deserves to have that, and it's their right.
And thanks to Rebuilding Together, corporate partner, the WD-40 Company, and about 60 volunteers, their home will get a well-needed makeover.
And when you come back, this place might look just a little bit different.
Good. I hope so. I'm expecting it.
The house was in okay shape. It obviously needed a little bit of fix-up here and there, but that's what we were there for. So I jumped up on the roof because it was a nice cold day, and that's where Canadians belong, and we laid a fresh layer of steel to keep the water out.
I didn't know you knew how to do some roofing skills.
I love the roof. It's the top of the pile.
The first thing I did when I got there was join the team that took over the living room. We tore out the carpet so Bobby could breathe easier, and they were eventually going to lay some hardwood flooring. And then we just painted the entire living room from a bright green to a lovely off-white. Throughout the whole day, I met all sorts of people, from the college volunteers to church volunteers to all of the people that are on the committee for Rebuilding Together to help these houses come together properly.
Well, WD-40 is proud to participate with the Rebuilding Together and the POWERBLOCK team to help rebuild the Bostick's home. At the company, I mean, we're driven by core values, 3 of which are do the right thing, make it better than it is today, and create positive, lasting memories. And this project, really symbolizes all 3 of those. And it's something certainly the Bosticks will remember for the rest of their lives. And as a company, it's important for us to give back, to do the right thing, and we're just pleased to be here.
Well, you picked a nice truck.
We brought the stock truck out to show it off before we tore into it. And it's amazing to think that the sale of our dually will help continue Rebuilding Together's mission to renovate the homes of low-income veterans. And with all the volunteers here today, there isn't a more worthy couple than the Bosticks.
It's just a blessing to have someone that really cares, and I think they do care. It's just amazing. God is awesome. And I think as I look at all of you, I can see Him in you. And I just want to say, to God be the glory.
See how awesome they are? Well, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Bostick, for allowing us to come in and help you along your journey.
Now, even though going there and helping out for the day was great, we are ready to do some more. Now, obviously, we're not going to auction off a stock truck. This is Xtreme 4x4. And when the guys at WD-40 Company asked us what kind of truck we wanted to build, well, the answer was simple. One that we'd never done before, a new challenge. So we had them grab us this, just around 50 grand, for a 2008 GMC 3500 dually.
Once it's all tricked out and before it gets auctioned off for charity, it's going to hit the road with the WD-40 Last Straw Tour to help promote their new smart straw design. You know that little red straw that always seemed to disappear? Well, with this new design, you can never lose it.
Now, the first parts that are going to go on our brand new truck are not only going to change the look of the truck drastically, they're going to make it a lot tougher. New bumpers, both front and rear, from Fab 4s. Now, the front bumper is drilled to accept most popular winches, so we went ahead and installed a Warren 12,000-pound unit behind this face. Now, the side of our truck has some chrome Nerf bars on it. That's just not going to cut it. So we went ahead and got some true tubular steps from NFAB. Fab 4's bumpers are not only some of the best looking available for this truck, they are definitely the strongest. Made from 3/16" plate that's been CNC cut, bent, and then fully welded with a 1/4" mount system underneath. They easily bolt right in place of both our front and rear bumpers. With integrated fog and turn lights up front and a cutout for the factory trailer light plug in the rear. The NFAB side steps are true tubular steps made from 120 wall tubing with integrated steps for both front and rear doors, as well as one to get into the bed. Now when we chose the 08 3500 dually, we knew that the wheel and tire package was gonna have to be something pretty special. And we decided that nothing says extreme like a semi-truck wheel conversion kit. Now the leader in those conversions is American Force, and it starts with these beautiful 22.5-inch aluminum forged wheels, a deep dish one for the back and a flat facing one for the front. Now the nice thing about these wheels, it's gonna do a couple things for us. Number one, it's gonna make our truck look damn cool. Number two, it's gonna let us run over the highway semi-truck tires. Now these are for Hankook, they're an AH12. They measure 255/70 and they fit our 22.5-inch wheels. Now these are gonna do a couple things for us. Number one, they're gonna ride really nice on the highway when you're driving long distances. But also because these are the same tires that you see on big rigs out on the interstate, these things are gonna last forever on our 1-ton.
In order to install those killer semi wheels underneath our truck, we need to have a lift. Not a lot, somewhere around 3 inches. That way we can keep it streetable, it's still gonna be good for towing, and we're not gonna have any clearance issues. Now we opted for the complete Skyjacker 3-inch lift kit for the 3500. Has everything we need to get that truck up in the air. From drop-down brackets to a dual steering stabilizer, a set of brand new nodular iron knuckles, and all the shocks.
An independent front suspension lift kit is a little more in-depth than a typical solid axle lift. The front suspension will have to be completely disassembled and the front differential removed. I got another boo-boo. After a little cutting and some grinding, we can install the new front and rear cross members to relocate our lower A-arm. A new nodular knuckle will help keep driveline angles in check. And of course, the new Skyjacker progressive valving shocks will help keep this truck riding smooth. In the rear, it's a simple set of 2-inch blocks, new U-bolts, and new longer shocks to match the front. Now we went ahead and upgraded the brakes both front and rear on this truck with Stainless Steel Brake Corporation drilled and slotted rotors, as well as their new lightweight 3-piston aluminum calipers. Now this is going to do a couple things for this truck. Number one, it'll help it when it's hauling a trailer to slow down from highway speeds. But number two, our new wheel and tire combination has a huge rotational mass. Upgrading the brakes just makes sense. It'll have this truck acting just like it has stock tires and wheels when you need to slow it down. Now the cool thing is stainless steel has these kits for almost any new truck, plus they bolt right in place by the factory pieces.
Now we can't call this truck extreme until we add some power to that Duramax diesel. So we're gonna be taking care of everything from the air going in, to how it's compressed, to how it exits the engine.
Now the whole system is gonna start with an AFE cold air intake with high flow reusable filter element. Now to control our variable geometry turbo, we'll be using a Fleece Performance turbo brake and boost controlling unit. And then the spent exhaust gas are going to flow out through the high flow Hush Power diesel performance exhaust muffler. Now to give us some tunability in the system, we're going to be using a Hypertech Max Energy tuner. Now the nice thing about this unit is not only does it give us more horsepower and torque when the truck's at wide open throttle, but when it's at part throttle just cruising down the highway, it's going to help us with our our fuel economy. It does this by making sure that we take advantage of all the fuel and air that enters the motor, therefore making it more efficient. Now it will also help us tune for larger tires and wheels on the truck, and it's fully upgradable via the internet, so that thing will never go out of style. The AFE cold air intake increases the truck's power by allowing up to 50% more cubic feet per minute of airflow through the filter. The smooth air inlet tubes, as well as the high flow air filter, will boost our torque numbers by 25 foot-pounds. The Hush Power muffler greatly increases the exhaust flow in our truck, and the internal design helps with exhaust scavenging. And of course, to finish it off, we need a nice chrome tip. Now the Hypertech Max Energy is pretty much plug and play. Once we have it hooked up to the diagnostic connector, we just program in the size of our new tires, choose the stage of power we want, and everything will just program from there. But the turbo brake is a little bit more in depth. But the nice thing about this is once we have it wired in, not only can we control the vanes of our variable geometry turbocharger to give us more boost, we can also control the braking power of the truck. Now what this will do is basically close down the vanes inside that variable geometry turbo, therefore choking off the exhaust, just like a Jake brake on a big rig. This will give us 180 brake horsepower to slow this vehicle down. That'll really help when it's hauling a trailer.
Hey guys, welcome back to Xtreme 4x4 and our 2008 GMC truck build-up for WD-40 Company and Rebuilding Together. Now since this truck is going to hit the road to help promote their new can design, the bed is going to see a plethora of WD-40 in it. So to help keep it looking good, we're going to be using a dual liner, bed mat, and protective side panels.
The 5-piece installation is really simple and takes about 5 minutes with no cutting or drilling. First, the custom fitted sidewalls, followed by the zero skid, removable rubber floor.
Now this wouldn't be much of a work truck without a toolbox in the back of it. And since we love our Matco toolboxes here at Xtreme, it only seemed right to put one in the bed of this truck. Now this is a Matco road box. It has a weatherproof seal all around the outside, keep your tools safe and dry in the elements. Has all the standard features of a good Matco box, like heavy-duty drawer slides and tons of storage space inside. Now it has this integrated handle assembly to make it easy to load and unload out of the back of the truck if you have two strong friends. If it gets too heavy, you can even use a forklift.
For compressed air on our truck, we went with the new Warren AirPower VTC air compressor. It's a small, lightweight V-twin design compressor with an integrated tank and intercooler to help run air tools. And with this air accessory kit with quick connect hose, it'll make a sweet addition to our truck.
Now we've gone ahead and pulled out this 6-speed Allison automatic transmission for a couple of reasons. Now we added some power adders to our Duramax up underneath the hood, and we want to make sure that the transmission can handle that power both safely and, more importantly, reliably, as this truck spends some serious time out on the highway. So we're going to go ahead and replace this transmission with this. A heavy-duty and fully rebuilt 6-speed Allison transmission from the guys down at Suncoast Converters. Now they took down some very specific information from us about our truck, things like projected horsepower and torque numbers, as well as how much weight we plan to pull with it. And they put together this transmission specifically for our vehicle. And this one has heavy-duty choline and steels, as well as a deep sump aluminum pan to aid in cooling. Now up front, we're going to be installing one of their AT545 torque converters. Now this has a billet CNC front cover to help eliminate bolt failure right at the mounts. It also has heavy-duty Torrington bearings inside to deal with the horsepower numbers that we've added to our diesel truck. But we're not just replacing this transmission because of power. Because I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking, why would you take out a brand new transmission just to replace it with another one? Well, the answer is right behind this cover. In early 2007, General Motors decided to no longer install this power takeoff gear inside the Allison transmission. Instead, behind the cover of the stock truck, you'll find a simple stamped steel tone wheel in its place. Now the problem with that is if you want to bolt up something to take advantage of that power takeoff, maybe a hydraulic pump or maybe a snowplow add-on, you can't. You need to take the transmission out and completely tear it down to put that gear in. So in our case, it's just best to replace the whole transmission.
that PTO gear installed in the tranny is for this item right here, a real power, PTO-driven 12,000-watt generator that gets mounted underneath the truck. Now, those of you in construction or go to a lot of trade shows know that a generator can take up precious room in the bed or sometimes even need to get hauled by a trailer. But this little guy fits right in between the frame rails and is driven by the Allison's Power takeoff system. The only thing that really takes up room in the back of the truck is the panel for the outlets.
Welcome back to Xtreme 4x4, where we're just finishing up our 2008 GMC 3500 dually build that we're doing for the WD-40 company. Now, this vehicle will eventually be used as a promotional truck to announce their new Smart Straw design on top of the cans of WD-40. Now, this truck is going to be driving all over the country as part of that event, and we want to make sure that it's got enough fuel to get between stops. Now, there's nothing wrong with this stock tank, but it holds about 34 gallons. And that means the truck will have to pull over every 500 to 600 miles. So we're going to swap it out for this new Titan fuel tank. Now, this is 55 gallons big. And the nice thing about this is the truck's going to be able to go almost 1,100 miles between fill-ups. It is a direct replacement for the stock unit, bolting up in the original location with the new supplied straps and hardware.
Well, all in all, I think we built a pretty killer truck that'll work great hauling a trailer, and it's still wild enough to turn a lot of heads. All that's left to do is take it for a test drive.
There is no question that this truck is now worthy of the name Xtreme. The 3-inch Skyjacker lift seems subtle, but when combined with the new American Force 22.5-inch semi-truck wheel conversion, this truck now has the looks of a big rig. All that's missing are the stats. The hand-cooked tires balanced up perfect, and the truck cruises down the highway smooth and cool. Having the extra power when needed was great pulling onto the highway. But more importantly, the extra braking power from the drilled and slotted rotors and stainless steel brake lightweight calipers, coupled with our new turbo brake, this huge truck can stop on a dime. All in all, a great truck and built for a good cause, because the proceeds of the sale of this 1-ton will go to Rebuilding Together and their Veterans Housing Program.